So I would like you to start with, explaining us about LiveKid, what you do, and where you are in terms of company growth, and then we can take it from there.
Pleasure to be here. As I came back to Krakow this year, I'm super happy to join local community, because it's such a shame that I was not really active member of what's happening in Krakow in terms of startups. So the company I founded and the company that I run currently is LiveKid, which is a company that creates software for education, specifically early education, 0 to 7 years old. We have a couple of products, but the biggest one and the most known one is daycare management system. So it's by business model, it's SaaS, so it's a B2B management system for nurseries and kindergartens to handle communication, billing, payments, reports, and all that stuff. But we also have parents in our platform, like 400,000 parents a month. And for them, it's like social media communicator with internal social media within a daycare. Communication channel with a daycare, they receive daily updates, they can see photos, schedule an absence. So yeah, those all of the things that the parents that have kids in the daycare know that needs to be handled. And in terms of scale, our main product is in 3,500 daycares, around 400,000 parents. We process payments around 180 million euros a year, and in terms of revenue, it's almost like 15 million annually in Polish zloty. And team is quite small relatively to what it could be at that stage. So we employ around 70 or 80 people across three countries: Poland, Spain, and Mexico.
Awesome. So you mentioned 15 million in revenue. I know that you were growing rapidly and growing your revenue year to year successfully. So can you tell us what were the main challenges if it comes to growing from 1 million to 5 million, then to 10 million, and then eventually to 50 million? Can you name those and probably give some tips to others that are scaling with this type of level?
It's totally different journey. Each 1 million euros in revenue, approximately, in terms of software as a service businesses in vertical markets, because we are vertical SaaS. First mill, it's very romantic. So it's all about, customer, like cut the bullshit, no processes, no nothing. You just hire the pirates that wants to understand the pain points of a client and create a product or something like product to really solve them. Because at the very beginning, LiveKid was not really, it was obviously a product, but there were so many things that we were doing either manually or like hacking. So at the very beginning, it's just about the problem and getting product market fit, which is something that you are mostly concerned about, and you will feel it. Like once you get it, product market fit, you will absolutely feel it. It's kind of a cliche, but it's like love. So once you have that product market fit, you really know you have it. If you are thinking whether there is a need for my product or whatever, you don't have it. And the worst thing of scaling internationally is that you have to obtain that product market fit on each market.
When exactly you had that feeling or that conviction already that you have that market fit? Once you got less and less rejection by potential customers, right? Because when you visit them and you talk to them and then or call them, whatever, send emails, and they don't want to try your platform, they don't want to buy it, then you obviously don't have it. But once you start get to yes out of 10 no's, it's like, okay, it's finally getting somewhere. So yeah, so that's the first stage, and you need pirates, people that just want to. If they are kicked out of the door, they will come back by window. You need that type of a mentality, and then things Then things are starting to be a little bit more complicated as you hit 5 million in revenue, because you need you really need some processes, some cadence, rhythm of organization, and you need to bring some people from outside, which is counterintuitive and at the later stage, because I would say that on around 5 mil in revenue, you need to really focus on like getting people that know stuff outside of the organization, specifically if you are like me, first-time founder, so you really don't know stuff. So you need people that been there, done that, to bring some knowledge to your company. And then as you go to like 5 or 10, there is a trap, because actually what you should be doing, at least from my experience, I know it's, each company is different case, but in my experience, it was all about stopping really hiring people for managerial leaders position from outside, but really investing in people that you have on board. And because context, someone that is within a company for 3 years, have seen first stage, second stage, and is part of a third stage, they have a lot of contextual information. And it's something that you can have very experienced senior people, you can hire them, onboard them well, but they lack a lot of context about your market, customers, product, what you've tried as a team, what you never tried. So it's counterintuitive, because I think at the beginning, once you hit scaling phase, you need to really bring some people from outside. But then I would like gradually stop and invest in the people that you have within. And also like closer to
how to know where to stop, let's say, scaling the team, because I know that we were chatting before that that have been some kind of issue in for you as well, that you were scaling the team too much.
Yeah, but what I meant really is not stopping scaling, but you don't want to end up in a situation that you have a core team meeting and everyone is in the company for less than 6 months. Because really, and you can end up, at this stage, because you think you need, VCs offer advice like, you need someone like been there, done that, hire experienced people from big logo companies, and you can do it, okay, sure, and you like fully change your management, but then they really are within your company for 5 months, and sometimes you really feel it. But regarding scaling itself, it's also combined with challenge of getting to like maybe 10 million in revenue, 15, because at that time, if you are not insanely profitable, like your company starts to be big, like it costs, like your payroll is like 1 million Polish zloty a month, and it's supposed to be like linear. I mean, more people, more money, more costs, more done, and it's not. And it's like super easy to fall into the trap that you start scaling that team. You are adding sales reps, engineers, operational people and stuff, but it doesn't really bring that much value. The biggest trick is it's super easy to split responsibilities or split competences within a team, but it's really hard to merge them. So if you on the early stage have one person in charge of HR, administration, finance, billing, everything. And once you start splitting that, so you hire a separate person for HR, separate for administration, separate for finance, billing. Like I cannot imagine going to one of those people right now and saying like, hey, you will be doing 2 of those from tomorrow. You basically, you are stuck at this fragmented team, and that's a very big challenge, because it's very easy to think that you will hire more people and more things will be done, but it's not that way. And once you start splitting, it's very hard to merge, and then you end up, I have 1 million payroll, and in order to do more stuff, I need to hire more people, more supportive functions like HR, administration. You need to communicate much better, so it's a trap. Like I would highly advise to go as lean as possible in terms of number of people, specifically in non-customer oriented roles. So nothing, or non-product, so people that aren't actually building or selling or servicing your product. Yeah. And one more thing regarding like scaling from 5 to 10 to 15, and then assuming you want to maintain something around 100% growth over time, is that you have some short-term goals or like things that will impact your P&L, your revenue, your growth in the short term, but they are not scalable in the long term if you want to keep growing 100%. And what I mean by that is sometimes you have a pressure or tension to hit certain revenue milestone by the end of a year, and you can focus entirely on that to grow from 5 to 10. But you can skip building phase of fundamentals that will allow you to get from 10 to 20 within the next year. And that's one of the mistakes that we've made at some point. So we didn't invest enough time to build foundation for next year growth. And because we were so focused on delivering like this year results, more daycares, more money, and it's like very hard if you will miss that moment, miss that 6 months incubation period of certain initiatives, new revenue streams, it's very hard to accelerate that at a later stage. And you will feel that because then you will start a year and I'm like, what can I do more in that market or on that product?
How are you approaching that strategy sessions nowadays when you are aware that they are needed?
Over time, I try to write more and to like visualize it more. And we try to be, for example, this year plan was like super strict in terms of why we do certain things. So we have like 2-3 years plan, which is we want to be there. What will make us like go there successfully? What can stop us from getting there? And then like we have some threats also, some opportunities, and each of the projects, initiatives needs to be linked to one of those. So if we decided that we want to double the number of daycares, triple the revenue per daycare, we do it by doing payments features, B2B marketplace, B2C marketplace, and all of those like low-level stuff. Everything that we do needs to be linked to that. If it's not linked, if it's like nice to have thing, but it's not like pushing us towards the goal, then like okay, we are not doing that. And that like focus of saying no to things is super hard. But in my case, you need to be like super clear and like you need to write this strategy because as a founder, you think, okay, it's super clear. I know it, I feel it. But then you have, as a founder of like 80 people company, you don't really do the job. Like they do the job, so they need to know, and they will know if they will, can read it.
Do they participate, or how you get them involved in strategy sessions?
This year we are running in certain areas like product, sales growth, international expansion. We run a series of workshop, and we also invited everyone to like give input for those workshops. So like we spent December gathering all of the information from like each team member. Then we just put it in one whiteboard as a like mess, and we run series of meetings of getting through that mess to more like structure, plan, and yeah. Awesome. But it's really hard to. It takes a lot of time and a lot of patience to change that top-down approach of like setting goals and strategies to like be more like bottom-up.
You mentioned about international expansion, and I know that you explored that path as well. Can you say how you were doing that and what type of challenges you encountered during that process?
So first thing is you want to really, and that's quite controversial, I guess, but you want to really skip that. You don't want to do...
You want to skip international expansion?
Yes.
Why?
Insert like international expansion as a concept of getting to each country, setting up the business from scratch. You want to ideally choose the business, the idea, or the product that is not forcing you to do so.
Okay.
So,
but you mean establishing entity in a given
No, I
region,
just mean,
or just
for example,
offering the product on the foreign market?
I mean, I would international expansion in a way that we do it. It's extremely hard, and yeah, period. It's extremely hard. So I would recommend to either choose the market or choose your approach to the market that is not geographically defined. What I mean by that is when you do CRM software, right? So you just do CRM for sales reps. There is nothing like local CRM market in each country. There is a global CRM market, right? Or marketing automation tools. So you just create product once in English. You have get response, for example. I don't believe they have a version in Polish or whatever, right?
I also don't.
Yeah. So you expand internationally by just running your company. You don't have to replicate the structure, head of sales, head of marketing, head of customer service in each country, right? You don't have to find product market fit over and over again, as we have to do. We have to do to find product market fit again in Spain, again in Mexico, figure out the go-to-market strategy again, duplicate the structure of growth teams. And it's just super hard, and it's not worth it. Like there are markets, there are products that are international by design, and I would strongly recommend to do it that way. Or if you have a business like ours, which is very local, so daycare, like education markets are local by definition. There's nothing in, like, they are just local. There's Polish market, Spanish one, German one, US one. Then you want to focus on big markets to minimize that process like as much as possible. Because how many companies we really have that really expanded, internationally?
Brainly is operating in the educational market, and they managed to do it from
sure.
day one.
They are outliers.
Almost,
like you have Doc Planner, you have Booksy, so sure they are. But I had a case one day when I visited one of my competitors from US. They sold the company, so I was like, okay, maybe they would like to talk freely about experiences because they are no longer within the company. And I went to that meeting with a feeling that I'm meeting a pope, like literally someone that, because they were like 3 times bigger than us. And I came to the coffee shop in Cupertino with like a list of questions, like I was like sitting like, okay, name like. Please teach me the business right now. Like, tell me what to do. And they really were not better at anything that we did in terms of like conversions, cost, nothing. They just operated on a 10 times bigger market with dollars. And he was not even thinking about hiring people in different languages in different markets. And they managed to create a 3 times bigger business within the same period of time, just because of that simplicity. So that's one thing. You want to avoid international expansion as a process itself. Doesn't mean that you don't want your product to be used globally, but just try to design either product, choose the market, whatever, just not to be forced to do it locally in each market. Of course, some businesses doesn't allow it, right? If you want to create an Uber or something, like you have to do it. But just to be super clear, it's hard, it's time-consuming, and I'm not sure, like, if I would be designing business just from scratch, because LiveKid was created by accident, just because of my mom was running a nursery, so I didn't pick the market. But if I would be thinking, okay, I want to build a business, I would try to pick a market that you don't have to do that kind of international expansion.
Or for which you can design the module or something that would be relevant for many customers, right? Because that's also possible.
Yes, but then it's super hard because, So attacking our market, for example, with international by design approach, would be focusing on challenges and pain points of our customers that are only like international. They are in each country. For example, what's the problem internationally? Communication between parents and teachers happens everywhere, right? Billing and problems with payments, not that much. There are countries that have much more simplistic approach to billing. For example, we tried to expand to Canada, and we have very extensive billing platform in LiveKid to configure like a lot of rules, separate bank account for nutrition, meals, like literally is a like big machine to calculate the billing. But they're like, but we are charging like $1,000, whatever. If they come, if they don't come, we don't care. Food, just $1,000. So closing the loop. We could say that, okay, we want to focus only on communication, just create a communication product, that will fit like each market. But then it's like very hard because once you deliver that delivery product, that communication product to the customer, they want more, and you want to, address their needs. So they are saying you, okay, I have problem with this and that, and you want to expand product feature offering to meet those needs. So, yeah, you need to be like very much, strict that you. It's a lot of it's very hard in product wise to create,
I agree. Like listening to what you're saying, at least in your particular, case, that might be true. So, but I know that you found a way for expanding, at least to Spain. So, can you tell us more about the merger and acquisition as a way of expanding the business to the other market?
Yeah. So. It wasn't really planned because we did one acquisition in Spain. Small one, relatively, in like entire business world, but for us it was a big thing because we deployed, from our perspective, lots of capital to work, and we never did that. So we had some. Our international expansion started in a very like super simple way. So we get to like 4 million zloty in revenue. Then we raised our first institutional funding from VCs. And we were like, okay, we want to go global. So we hired someone that speaks Spanish, German, English, and we made them do cold calls to nurseries. And that was the first way. It was run by my co-founder, Matthew. And it kind of worked for Spain, kind of. So because in Germany it was like really hard for us for certain reasons. In Canada and UK, same. So we got like first, okay, we have some customers, maybe 20, 30 in Spain. And then our like interest with Matthew misaligned a bit, whether it's worth to like try to do it, because it was really like we were burning a lot of money with no results compared to what we were doing in Poland. And I really wanted to speed up the process, but could I hire and manage like 10 reps, 10 sales reps, and make them successful? Not really, because I'm not a salesperson, never was. But so what can I do? And I was like, okay, I'm quite like street smart in finance. I'm quite street smart in strategy. So let's find a competitor that is like doing okay, but not great locally in this market. Let's just buy them, and then I have a team of people that already know the market, know the customers, customer base. So then I can work with that asset, right, as a CEO, and that's how we did it. We also did it because we've seen pattern that some of the companies from Poland that expanded in similar market like Dog Planner were using acquisitions a lot for that expansion.
Are you satisfied now that you did it this way?
Yes, in general, like one answer, yes, I am. But it was more
Tell
challenging.
Tell us about those buts.
It's not about bad, but things got complicated over time. Like they usually do. So it looks simple, but over time it's not. And also the product market fit. So we wanted to fully migrate customers from product of Dinantia, the company we bought, to our product. But then we discovered all of those like little details that are different, whether it's worth to do the work for migration. We can lose some customers. So that's one of the problems and that we encountered. And in general, the biggest takeaway from that acquisition, and something I could share, and remember that it was a relatively small company, like 10 people, maybe 3 million zloty in revenue annually. If something, don't rush with so-called PMI, like post-merger integration. Don't rush with it. If something works, it works for a reason. Give yourself a time to understand why it works, how it works, and then change things. And if something works, it's not stupid, and don't touch it. If you don't have a clear plan how to make it better, because we touched it in a few areas, and we thought, yeah, we know better how to do it, but we didn't really. And then we were reversing the process, getting back to how it was previously. So sure, you buy a company, you are buying them, so you have some kind of a informational advantage, because otherwise they will be buying you.
And sure, you are smart, you know how to do that business, but give yourself some space to understand it. Don't rush with changing things.
Awesome. You mentioned about investors in one of your sentences. So I wonder, because we are always fighting on OMGKK meetups, like whether to fundraise or whether to bootstrap. So I wonder, what's your opinion? I know that you had different types of periods in your growth. Can you tell us like what are the advantages?
Yeah. I really don't like this kind of a discussion, like VC versus bootstrap. I think it's very immature. Like I don't believe it's not a type of a coffee that you want to, what's better. Like there's no, it's just a tool.
Okay, so how to properly navigate it? Because probably you need both, as you said. So
you need to really understand. It's a product. You need to think of venture capital as a product. Right? So you have loans, you have revenue-based financing, and you have venture capital. And you need to really understand first how this product works. So you need to think about, okay, venture capital firm is a company that actually raise money from outside, from their investors, and they raise it for like 10 years, right? Five years they invest, 5 years they invest, 5 years they grow the companies, and they want this money to be like tripled, right? Within those like 10 years time horizon, and they return that money. And how they do that? They don't invest in one company, right? But they invest in, 20 companies per fund, something like this. And how they achieve that 3x, whether it's like each company delivering 2, 2.5, 4, 5, no, it's power law. So they invest in 25 companies, 80% of that goes like sideways or like not returning the capital they raised. And then you have 1, 2, 3 outliers for each fund that generates 100x, and then it's 3x of entire fund. So they are in the business of deploying capital to risky ventures with a will to go either sideways or like nowhere, or like very, very high, right? And you need to understand that that's their business model, and you are signing up for those expectations, which are not bad expectations if you have your interests aligned. So you have to ask yourself what kind of a company you want to build, why you want to build, and like what's your risk profile? Is it the same as your investors? So you are like go big or go home, or you are more like risk averse person that wants to build a lifestyle business or wants to build your first generational wealth, like just earn your first fuck you money. So you really need to understand your motivation, and if they really align with what's venture capital. So if you want to be famous, build or change the world, whatever, probably VC is best thing that can happen to you, right? Because they will really fill your vision with huge amounts of capital, and there's a high chance that you will need that. But if you want to build a company that you enjoy working with, or you want to build a company that will create that first generational wealth, actually raising VC is quite tricky, because there is if you are building a simple software like ours, to get to like 5-10 million revenue, sell it for like 15 million, 20 million, there is a very high chance you can just do it, execute that. It's some kind of a risk, but it's like a managerial risk. You can manage that, that's not a problem. But it's not a VC type of investment, right? And they will, if you want to raise venture capital, like classical venture capital, because there's lots of people that call themselves VCs, but they are not in Poland. For them, like nothing like certain returns matters. They just want to be like either like unicorns, or it doesn't matter. And ask yourself if you really want to go that path. If for you it's really go big or doesn't matter. Because I've seen a lot of people that raised VC, but they also don't want to go don't want that company to go bankrupt because it's their kid, and they want to make some money, and it's like just not worth it. And also like before that, so aligned interests are super important, but also you have some capital intensive businesses building SaaS for nurseries, is not capital intensive. Like building robots, or building OpenAI or Uber, that's capital intensive. So in that case, you don't have really a choice, right? Because you really need to raise that money. But if it's not capital intensive, if you are not operating on a market with like huge competition, like I would just think slowly. There's lots of funding options. You don't have to raise classical VC, because if you do, it could be a great journey, but you have to acknowledge that it's kind of a one-way ticket. So once you raise first VC money, your expectation is to raise like each 18, 24 months max next round, and you should be aiming to get to like 150 to 100 million euros valuation minimum. I'm not saying even about unicorns, but just to 200 mil. And ask yourself if you can, because the first round is tricky thing, because you want to raise not a lot, a mil to, you have idea how it can improve your business, because like with mil, I can do a lot more. We talked about it, that not really, like you'll hire lots of people, but if you will do a lot of more, I don't know. But first mil or two are tricky because you really know how to spend it wise. But think about classical VC. You will raise 10, 50, 100, 200. Do you have like scalable acquisition channels? Can you really deploy 50 million in a year in an efficient way to get more customers, more revenue? Because that's how you need to think. You need to be able to deploy that. I don't see, for example, like a super clear way yet to be able to deploy huge amounts of capital within short period of time. So that's the third thing I would consider. If it really makes a difference for you, if you can really grow 100 times more if you will have 100 times more money, because that's not the case of each business.
Awesome. So I know that you decided eventually to take some money from the VCs. So and it cost you even a near-death experience in the recent round. So can you touch that a bit?
Yeah, it sounds dramatic. Wasn't really that dramatic, but it sounds good. So we ended 2022 with a very tight corner in our business. So we basically grew too much in terms of new customers compared to our infrastructure and like code-based scalability. So we had some technical debt on the scalability side, and we started having problems with the product stability. So it impacted both the short-term revenue, morale of a team. It was like quite a challenging period of time. And then we ended up a year and we were like, okay, what's next? I remember even writing a letter to our investors and all of the shareholders that in 2023, there is a high chance that we will not raise any money, that we want to be profitable, we'll hit break even, and we'll continue our way, and that's it. Because as you remember, the market for fundraising at early 2023 was really hard. So valuations were low, VCs were not really willing to invest. So the market was not really,
it still is, so probably not that.
Yeah, but back then it was really tough. So that was the way we started 2023. But then I was like, okay, let's try. Let's see how the market looks like. So I just ran a typical competitive process, reaching out to all of the people in my network, just slowly gossiping that maybe we'll do something. And then it got really fast. We got first term sheet. We wanted to raise like 6.5 million euros, something around that. Not all of to the company, but some secondary, some primary. And we got our lead investor term sheet ready. We added up second fund, which was syndicate, more like a syndicate deal-by-deal fund to that. And we signed a term sheet for like 6.5 million euros. And that was the time that we really maybe not needed to like do layoffs or anything to get to break even, but we needed to either decide if we want to really push gas in 2023, and then we need external money, or we want to optimize, stop like aggressively investing in new markets to hit break even. And we signed a term sheet, which is not a binding thing. Like most of the deals happens after term sheet, because after term sheet you have due diligence process. So, all of the tax audits, payroll audits, tech audits, all of the things they check. You draft investment agreement with the VC or any other investor. And you have closing and money is in the bank account. And for us, like it was like before, every time we sign term sheet with solid people on the other end, it happens that after a few months there is a bank in the bank account. And I remember thinking, okay, we signed term sheet in like I don't remember, maybe February for that 6.5. We agreed on certain terms. We started entire process, and then sure we lived with a thinking that we have that money, right? So we don't want to really optimize the business next 3 months, stop investing to re-accelerate later, because then you don't know if you can hit the goals that you promise. You really want to go full gas. So we wanted full gas. And what happened is that 2 weeks before, and we finally raised from Innova Ventures, which is like probably the best VC in Poland. And the second investor that was in the term sheet was very like well-known group of people in the ecosystem. So not some random guys, like really respected, well-known guys. And like 2 or maybe 3 weeks before notary, it happened that this fund didn't deliver the money. So they couldn't raise money because they also had to raise money from their investors. So we ended up with, we will not have 6.5. We have only half of that from Innova. And do we want to close? And certain rules, certain terms that we agreed on, we agreed with like having in mind that we have 6.5, not 3.2 or whatever. So in the moment that it happened, we were getting, our bank account was like negative. So we had a credit line in the bank account, like 1 million zloty. And I was like, sure, it will close, no worries, so we can go under. So the moment that we were, and we decided, okay, we will not try to relaunch entire process because we can't. We didn't want to decline the 3 point something mil in founding because we couldn't technically, because we were actually on the full gas mode. So we closed that round. Luckily, everything went well. But the moment that we signed finally on a closing day, we had negative bank account balance. So we were technically a bankrupt.
Oh my! So yeah. Tell me now.
It was quite stressful because you never know how the investors or how your partner on the other side of the table will react. Because when we were getting back to the investors that we said no to at the beginning of the process, to say like, hey, we have 3 million free allocation, so you can jump. And they were like, but what's the discount? What more you will offer us? So we never really knew that Innova will not try to use that negotiation position that they had. So it was quite stressful, but finally everything went well. Like we raised that money, and yeah. Here we are.
Awesome. So now tell me how you as a founder are dealing with this type of stressful situations, and how to manage to tackle those almost death near experiences in order to survive it.
So I would be I would not be very honest if I would say that I thought we can really go bankrupt, because I always had in mind that okay, it's minus 500,000. We can do some reductions, optimize the business, stop like investing so much in growth. I can loan some money to the company, and we'll be okay, right? So it was always that we'll not really go bankrupt, but it will be a hard period of time, even though the bank account balance was minus something. But in general, the tricky thing and the worst thing of being a founder in terms of stress is that you if you're operational founder, that you really work within your company, like actually you do the work, understand things and stuff, is that you are the only person within a company that both worries about operational challenges, like sales, product, everything that happens within the company internally. You worry about the strategy, so long-term things, and about investors' relations, things like that. And there is no one else within a company or within your shareholder structure that has to worry about all of those things. So it gets very lonely because investors, they are worrying about strategy and valuations and those big things, but they don't know that your best sales rep is quitting, or they don't know that your infrastructure is not scalable yet and you need to rewrite a bunch of code, or they don't worry that you need to fire your head of whatever, right? So they just worry about big stuff. And also your team, they are worrying about hitting the targets, shipping that feature, and all of those things. But they don't worry about interest rates, VC market, those things. You are the only person that has have a full spectrum of issues that are happening within the company, both big picture, strategic, investor relations, and those operational ones. And what I found therapeutic or very useful, first because being entrepreneur or founder is a lonely thing. You don't have peers within your company, so you need to seek out those peers. So get some friends. So I mean entrepreneurial friends, right? People that you can really.
That's why we have those OMGKK meetups, so that you can also meet.
Yeah, because someone that you can really relate to. And I don't mean that you can't rely or relate to people within your company. I have pleasure to work with some very engaged, motivated people that are really super helpful for me, to me, and they are a lot of support. But it's not the same thing, right? And so get your peers. So find some entrepreneurs and build close relationships with them so you can share some experiences and stop feeling that you are alone with that problem. And it usually happens that if you think you are in a very deep shit, some of your friends will be in even deeper. So it's kind of a therapeutic experience, right? So you worry about some stuff, but someone else is in a worse case. So that's one thing. Or was in the worst case and they survived. That's the first thing. Second, try to share with your team as much as possible. Don't hide stuff. Don't try to be the only person that knows that your bank account is negative. I'm not saying sharing that on all hands meetings, because sometimes some information without context will make more damage than anything else. But try to share more of your concerns, issues with your team, with your core team, with close group of people, because that will help you. That you will offload some of the tension and some of the stress to your guys, right? So don't try to be that lonely hero that needs to know all of the issues and live with it. Yeah. And those are two things that I found quite useful.
So I took already a lot of time, so I don't want to extend it too much. But any final advice that you want to give to the audience before we move to the Q&A?
I really hate those silver bullet advices and stuff. So nothing. Maybe one thing. It doesn't get easier over time, but it gets different. And different, it's better. So yeah.